What's up, everybody? Welcome to pregame here on Cyclone Fanatic. Iowa State taking on Dayton in the Maui Invitational. That will start. It's going to be a little longer than 30 minutes. This thing will start late. Right now, you're looking at 4:54 to go in the game before it. There's got to be a 30-minute delay. You're probably looking closer to an 8 o'clock start for Iowa State and Dayton. So there you have it. Leah Nelson should be here with me momentarily. She's having microphone issues, so she may not. They're trying to get that figured out right now. Looking forward to tonight's game. Let's see how Iowa State bounces back after that tough one last night against Auburn. First of all, I want to thank our great sponsor, Channel Seed, our friends at Channel Seed, bringing us pre- and post-game coverage of the men and women all year long, the rest of the way. And also our friends at Keen Project Solutions and Raymond James, the Natuzel boys, father-son combination over there at Raymond James. Remember them for your financial planning. Go ahead and ask me some questions if you guys want. We can make this super interactive. Rob Gray will be with me immediately following today's game as we will go ahead and break everything down that happens tonight between Iowa State and Dayton. Hopefully a little different than last night. I hope you listened to our post game last night. My thoughts really haven't changed on that game. I did take an hour to watch it back today. I thought that Auburn deserves as much credit as Iowa State deserves blame for the end of that game and how Iowa State was just crushed on the boards in the second half. They'll bounce back tonight. Dayton's a good team. Officially picked number 2 in the Atlantic 10 behind VCU. So you're probably looking at an NCAA tournament team tonight. This should be, hopefully, a quad 1 win should Iowa State be able to pull this one off. And that would be great if that's the situation. We'll see. Obviously, a lot has to happen. We've seen Iowa State play in these tournaments before, where you think one thing's going to happen, and then like Texas A&M last year, we thought for sure it'd be a quad 1, bounced around, ended up being 1 at the end of the year. I guess the point is you just never really know how that's going to turn out. But listen, this matchup at the very least, Iowa State's guards had the experience advantage. They're better than Dayton's guards. This is a deal where Dayton has a really nice 7'1" freshman, comes off the bench. He plays about 15 minutes per game, but he's highly efficient. Keep an eye on that guy. I also think that they've got, to me, this game with Dayton, last night they had 14 threes. That it was a super similar game if you guys stayed up and watched them play North Carolina to what Iowa State did with Auburn. They actually had a 21-point lead over the Tar Heels last night. So this is a legit team. If you're looking at it and you're going, oh, that's a mid-major, you're looking at this thing all wrong. Sure, they're a quote-unquote mid-major, if you want to call the A-10 that, but this is a high-major team. They have NIL money. Basketball is very important in the city of Dayton. That's why they get the NCAA tournament every year. So I'm taking this team super seriously. They're long. Really the key to me, as far as Iowa State goes, is I'm curious about Tamin Lipsey. He just didn't look like himself last night. Was that a one-off? Was that a deal where he's probably going to bounce back and have a great game tonight? Or is there something going on there that maybe we don't know about? I don't know. I don't think so. Everything we've heard is that he's really healthy and, he had surgery in the offseason. He's ready to go. Man, he didn't look good last night, though. He looked off. He looked tired. He looked like he was in pain. Tamin kind of just plays that way in general. I don't know. It wasn't encouraging. That's the big thing for me tonight. I want to see him bounce back. Another thing, too, to think about with Tamin Lipsey, playing off the ball more this year. Keyshawn's a pretty ball-dominant point when he's in that spot. Is this a deal where that was their first real game and you're kind of learning more about how it's going to feel? I don't know. I don't know. But that's why you play in these games, right? It's why you play these real teams It's why the teams that generally go to Maui are good every year because they get invited back, right? They don't invite slappies out there. And Iowa State will be better for all this to regardless of how tonight goes. Fully anticipate that they win tonight's game. I would pick Iowa State to win tonight's game after doing some scouting of Dayton. You also have to talk about the not the motivation of Dayton, highly motivated team, no doubt, but doing exactly what Iowa State did last night. Is there an emotional letdown after when you're Dayton playing North Carolina? It's different than when you're Iowa State playing Auburn because they only have so many opportunities to get quad one wins, to get really good wins throughout the year. They got to be crushed today. I hope Iowa State's crushed today too, after how they let Auburn come back and win that basketball game last night. But you see my point. I don't know. Just thinking out loud, when you've got these quick turnarounds, usually the deeper teams have an advantage early in the year. Definitely think that's Iowa State. This will be a good basketball game tonight. I saw the lines like 9.5 right now. I wouldn't bet on Iowa State to cover 9.5 with Bloom's salary. Like and that's good because I'm usually wrong. So that means Iowa State's going to win by 10 or more. I don't know. Why would you? Dayton's good. Iowa State is still kind of figuring this itself out after last night. You got to get off the deck. I don't know. That seems like a really, really big number to me. Metrics wise, it's just funny how this works. Dayton actually went up in metrics last night after a loss to North Carolina. Iowa State stayed the exact same. So, yeah, I'm not really overly concerned about any of this stuff. I think that it's a great opportunity tonight, and if Iowa State can win it, then it should be a quad one victory at the end of the year. So there you have it. There's my thoughts on this one. Again, I think Iowa State has the advantage in the backcourt. I actually really liked Iowa State's bigs last night. I thought that Jackson, I think, probably impressed me even more than Jefferson. Jefferson was really good in the first half. I thought he got maybe a little bit big for his britches offensively in the second half. Maybe that impaired the team just a little bit. I thought Iowa State was too reliant on the bigs in the second half. You want to be a guard-oriented team, and they certainly weren't. We're going to see if Leah can hear me now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
What did you do? What in the heck was going on?
I don't know what happened. Sorry, everyone. Sorry to you, too.
Yeah, it's okay. I talk for a living. It's no big deal.
That's perfect. Yeah, Aiden helped me out. He came on the call.
The shows are always better when you're leading the way because it's not just me rambling. But
no, I bet whatever you were saying right there was great. Bigs on the floor.
I should tell everybody to go buy the Emily Ryan t-shirt that I'm wearing right now.
Oh, I love that.
Honestly, we do have great Black Friday sales at CycloneFanaticShop.com. If you guys want to go and support us during the holiday season, we would appreciate it. All the NIL stuff that we've got as well. Did you stay up for the whole game last night, Leah? You're a working woman now.
I did.
Did you watch the whole Dayton, North Carolina game after that?
No.
That will determine how big of a fan you are.
No.
Yeah, not many people did. That was a late one.
That was crazy too. That was a crazy finish. What was the score? 90?
92-90, and they gave up. It was honestly, it was a spitting image of the Iowa State game because Dayton had a 21-point lead over North Carolina.
Yeah, but
blew it.
North Carolina. I hate the blow it type of situation because like North Carolina is such a great team, just like Auburn. I feel like blowing it isn't the correct term. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, I'm not going to correct you at all. If you listened to me and Rob in post game last night, I kind of felt the same way. It was like at halftime, that was as good of a half of basketball. For 15 minutes, there was a little lull there at about the 7-8 minute mark.
Yeah.
That was as good as I've ever seen a basketball team play at Iowa State.
Oh, it was
honestly
great.
and I know that the Tinsley Pfizer people they were insane there for about 10 to 15 minutes in that first half. I was like, holy shit, like this team is insane.
It was a fun basketball game to watch.
But like you said, with like North Carolina, Auburn, any of these hyper talented teams, let's take it into your world. When you're playing Texas, you can be up 5-0 on Texas and you don't feel confident.
And It's one hit. It's literally one hit, and they're
Yeah.
back in the game. So
Yeah. Well, and you saw that last night. Iowa State did the flagrant. Jackson did the little teeny tiny little push, and they got him for the flagrant, and that changed the whole basketball game. Yeah, you knew Auburn was going to make a run,
right.
like a real run to threaten the game. And the question was, in my opinion, how do you bounce back when they do? And I actually thought Iowa State bounced back just fine. They just didn't make a play at the end of the game. They were one short. So I was totally okay with it. It sucked. Wasn't happy
Right.
at the end of that basketball game. But that's what I led this with, Leah. We're on the same page. It's like I gave Auburn almost as much credit as I did blaming Iowa State for how that thing finished up. Let's go through some of these questions, shall we?
We shall.
Joey wants to know what was the reason to limit Milan last night. I don't know if I would even say he was limited. Let me look at the actual. It certainly felt like he still played 26 minutes. I know everybody was saying that last night, but
he wasn't on the floor at the very end of the game, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because at that point, Iowa State couldn't get a stop, and they didn't want to play Milan at the 4 against those bigs for Auburn. That's why. They were going with the defensive lineup at that point. And that's the other farce from last night's game. Everybody's like, oh, the offense sucked in the second half. It wasn't as good, but I would also make the point that Iowa State's offense is fueled by its defense. When you can't get a stop, they weren't getting any live ball turnovers. And so to me, no, he played. Joey, I will show you the stats right now. Milan played 11 minutes in the second half. So he played over half of it. Like he was out there. He just kind of disappeared. I think that's fair, but he was not. I would guess that's about what he's going to average on the season minute wise. And they're going to roll with matchups. Auburn is a bad matchup to have Milan playing defense at the 4. That's just a fact. So that would be my answer to that. You got anything else for me, Nelson?
Well, did you chat with anyone after the game? How was the atmosphere? Because it seemed crazy on TV.
I kind of left people alone.
Good. Well, smart.
Kind of thought that they weren't going to want to talk about that one last night. No, I mean, I'll tell you. I know TJ super well. I promise you, an hour after that game, he had already moved on, and they were not licking their wounds at all.
Right.
I've been on the road with them a lot. Like I know this team. I know how he thinks, and that you have to with these tournaments too, because you literally have a game 24 hours later.
Right.
You can't just sit around and mope because you blew a lead. So I don't know. I truly I am not concerned. Even if somehow they would lose tonight, it's like I had the overreaction to some of these people. It's like, man, you forget how many opportunities you get in the Big 12. Like if your goal is to unequivocally be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, which would be awesome. Yeah, that sucked last night. Like, because that's one that you put in your back pocket. But if Iowa State could win its next 2 up here, down here, wherever the hell Hawaii is, over there, yada yada yada, you're in really good shape. So that's the good thing about playing in the Big 12. It's the opposite of what Big 12 football is going through right now. Big 12 basketball, you are in the SEC, and you're the top dog at the top of the totem pole. Like you're the alpha. You dictate. That's what's great about playing in the Big 12 in basketball, because you're gonna have so many freaking opportunities at these games. But you can't take away that it was a giant missed opportunity to put a top 5 win in your back pocket in November. There's no denying that.
Yeah, but they'll have another chance, multiple chances.
They
and
will.
It'll make them better. They'll think about this game when they're playing Kansas or whoever, and then boom.
You're right. And again, like we talked about it in pregame yesterday. We were all worried, like, what happens with Iowa State's big guys against those pros that Auburn has, and they held their own.
They did, and they're good
Held
at
their
free
own.
throws.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome to have a big man who can shoot free throws like
You don't see
Jackson?
that often, but that was
Yeah.
incredible.
They held their own. So I weren't going to go undefeated. It wasn't going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen. Keep getting better. And we've seen literally every year with under odds, they're so much better in February than they are in November. I wonder if this team, being as experienced it is, will make as big of a jump, right? Like they're not babies anymore.
Right.
Like these guys have played a lot. So I'm guessing that there's not as big of a jump. This is more of a finished product right now than it will be compared to like a year ago, because that team was completely different in November than it was in February. They looked like a different team.
Yeah.
This team won't be as much, but I do think there's two things that there's growing pain right now. One, kind of their backcourt rotations. Lipsy not being as ball heavy. Two, they haven't really had true big men. Jones and King and Ward last year were really all not Jones. Jones was a very limited 5 who played his ass off. Okay. And he got a lot better.
Right.
But he was never like a straight up dog like Jackson was last night. Right. Like it. And then the other two guys were, you could play them at the 5, but they were completely undersized. They were just more limited players. I just think that, and this would be why a lot of people are saying, well, you should play somebody better before you go out to Maui. I know that's a valid point. But I would also make the point that you get back from Maui and you got Marquette waiting on you, right? And that's going to be a top 10 team. And, like, they have a loaded schedule. They're playing enough really good teams. Everybody needs to freaking chill out. And I don't know. I did not. I slept great last night.
Yeah. Wouldn't you rather have a loss right in the beginning of the season than later in March?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can go back to last year. I was calling the games in Orlando. They were terrible in Orlando last year. Just a really and last night they were not terrible. They just lost to a really good team.
Right.
And they happened to blow a big lead while doing it. But Leah says don't use the term blow the lead. So I've point.
You can use that term, but it's just like Auburn's such a great basketball team. It's like that's like what they train for, obvious.
You're
like,
right.
I don't know. It just
like I always say, the other team has scholarships too, right?
Exactly. So
like they're trying to beat you. They've scouted you.
And can we talk about the adjustments you're going to make between the first half and the second half? Like, of course they're going to come out differently. Of course you're not going to keep a 15-point lead.
Yeah, and I think that I would love to be in Bruce Pearl's locker room last night. Iowa State kind of emasculated those guys in the first half.
Yeah.
They were out there shoving them, pushing them around. I mean, I can't imagine Bruce Pearl was just passive during his halftime locker room speech. And to their credit, good job.
Mm-hmm. Like they obviously made some changes.
Yeah, they were the aggressor in the second half. So what do we need to see tonight? We need Lipsy to look like himself. Mm-hmm. That scared me when he hit the front end of those 2 free throws.
So that I agree. It felt like something was way off.
So I want to see that tonight. That is my biggest key to this thing. You can win the game without Lipsy, but man, he is one of the most efficient players and best leaders in college basketball, whatever is going on there. And I don't know what it is. Is it because he's moved positions just a smidge? Is it his shoulder? I don't know. Figure it out. I need to see that guy more involved, more active, right? So, but again, warning to fans who are I think that this 9.5 point spread is way too much. I think Dayton's a really good team. If you watched them play North Carolina last night, you saw that. They're a really loaded mid-major type team that I don't even call those Atlantic 10 teams. They're kind of mid-majors, but they are, recruiting at a much higher level than like what say the Valley teams do, right? Like just the athleticism and stuff. So they're going to be able to match up body-wise with Iowa State. It will be a difference. They aren't freaking defensive linemen out there like Auburn was trotting out there. But it's a skilled team, and I fully expect an absolute game tonight. And I if Iowa State wins by 10, like Vegas says, I would be really surprised. We'll see. Real quick, 69-63. Memphis looks like they're going to hold on to beat Michigan State. Former Cyclone Tyrese Hunter once again leading the way. You'll like this. My older girl Leah, to carry on our conversation from last night. She likes to know, which color are we rooting for?
I love
team.
that. That is so sweet.
She does it every time there is a game on the TV.
What color? Oh, I love that.
And I have to tell her who we're rooting for, even if I don't really care.
Right.
In this game, I don't really care. But I told her we're rooting for the black team because there's a guy in the black team that used to play for the Cyclones, and she was very excited about that.
See, that makes me feel better about our conversation yesterday.
We are trying to raise these children to be forgiving and kind.
It's the next generation.
Not just be nasty. Oh, he transferred.
All
right, well, enjoy the game.
Thanks, you too. Thanks for starting it off without me too. I appreciate it.
We got some people who are in Maui watching us from the court on their cell phones. That's kind of neat.
That is so cool. Did you see that a newborn baby was watching me, Matt, and
I did
Woody?
See that. Yeah, that kid is going to grow up to be a champion.
I know, literally. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Going to grow up to be a real champion. And then we do have the college football playoff ranking show coming up next too. So maybe Rob Gray and I will be able to react to that as well. We'll see. I'm not optimistic about where the Big 12 is going to end up, but we will see.
We will see.
We will see. Thank you, Leah. Appreciate
it. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate Channel Seed, our friends at Raymond James with the Natuzel Boys and Keen Project Solutions, all great sponsors of what we are doing. And they'll be with us all year long.
Score.
Pre and post game on Cyclone Fanatic. Memphis did end up winning that one. So 30 minutes from now, the game will start. Yep, I nailed it. I said a little before 8. That was what I thought. 30 minutes from now, Iowa State and Dayton will tip off, and we'll be here right after the game. Rob Gray and I will join you to talk about it. She's Leah Nelson. I'm Chris Williams. Thanks for hanging out with us on Cyclone Fanatic.